Let us introduce some simple notation and some language for talking about swap analytics. So we need to start really basic to begin with. One of the key things we need to care about is time. So when we look at a given financial value or variable in some sense, we think of the current time as time t, and we could care about some time in the future, think of that as capital T, and normally you think of those two be small t less than or equal to capital T. We'll also need to introduce the concept of the so-called zero coupon bond. We'll say the price of the zero coupon bond at small t for a payment received at capital T, we'll call that P of small t comma capital T. So essentially what it does is to express the value of receiving 1 unit at some point in the future. What is the value of that at an earlier time in the future? So it expresses in some sense the meaning of discounting. You may be used to looking at discounting as something with rates. So it may be that you think of discounting as, say, continuously compounded rates. And that allows us to introduce another name. Let's call it the continuously compounded zero coupon rate. And let's be a little bit loose about the measure of time. Let's just think of capital T minus small t as the coverage between those two dates. So that could be one way, and that also shows us that there is a relationship between zero coupon bond prices and rates, as zero coupon rates being minus the log of the zero coupon bond price relative to the distance in time. And again, think of this guy as the coverage if you were to be completely precise. Typically in valuation, you would actually measure time not in Act 360 or 3360. Most of the time you would, in any model, actually use Act 365 or maybe even Act 365 and a quarter, which makes sense for a long time horizon. Another variable we could care about is LIBOR fixings or rate fixings. So we may care about a fixing we can observe in the market at time small t for a rate covering the period ending at t plus some length. So think of this guy as 3 months or 6 months or 12 months or something like that. So this is the actual fixing we're going to observe either today or sometime in the future. What we could also care about is what is the market willing to trade this future fixing at today, and we would call that the forward LIBOR rate. So we could, for the same fixing, if I looked at an earlier time, we could call the forward LIBOR rate observed at time t for the rate accruing between capital T and capital T plus some length. So this could be the forward LIBOR rate for a 3-month period. And evidently you should expect that when we come to the fixing, the forward rate coincide with the current fixing. So we would have FT at t until t plus delta to be exactly the same. But we should be really careful now, because in a modern pricing setup there are some pitfalls, but let's ignore that for a short moment.